The parts that we use would be the flowers, the leaves, and the big green seeds can be used as well. The leaves and the flowers are very high in, you know, they have that peppery taste, mustardy peppery taste.
Very hot.
Yeah, and those constituent, they're called glucosinolates, but it's that peppery, mustardy taste which makes it very good for the immune system. So it's what's called an immune modulant, which means it doesn't stimulate the immune system, but it balances it. So it helps balances out to a healthy immune system. That's one thing it does. And the other thing that they do is stimulate the digestion. So they're good for getting all the digestive juices going. But in both instances, small amounts. If you have too much, they can actually irritate the stomach. So if you ate a whole salad of just nasturtium, it can actually cause you to be a bit nauseous, that kind of thing. And then the green seeds, these green seeds, when they're nice and plump and green like that, you can pickle them in vinegar, and people use them as a substitute for like capers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Darrell did that.
Yeah, there's an example of them in the kitchen actually.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
And they've a lovely flavour, and again they still have that peppery flavour, so it's still good for the digestion and good for the immune system. Very easy to grow. Literally once you've grown them, you'll always have them. They self-seed. They'll grow really in any kind of soil. Obviously the richer the soil, the bigger the plants, but they will grow anywhere.
W.
Yeah. It grows up and little white daisy-like flowers. Yeah? And it will seed everywhere. And it's a perennial. It'll grow year after year. When it's in flower, you can either use one leaf at a time between slices of bread. You do it that way because otherwise it can irritate the mouth. Or you can dry it and use it to make a tea. And it's very well known for treating migraine. Basically a doctor in Wales, his wife had migraine and nothing was curing it, and she read in an old herbal feverfew for migraine, and then they researched it and she found it cleared the migraine, and they did studies on it and clinical trials. So it's mainly known as a migraine herb, but it has loads of other uses. It would be used for arthritis, and it's also good for menopausal symptoms and for premenstrual tension as well, or premenstrual symptoms. So it does a lot more than just the migraine. But this sometimes happens with herbs. They're researched for one thing and people forget that they do. Then we have one of the Japanese roses there, the Rosa rubiginosa. Oh dear, I don't know if I can spell rubiginosa.
I don't know.
You can always look it up. I've got books with me.
Yeah,
You can always look it up later. The main thing with this, the flowers don't have a very rich scent, unlike some of the other roses, but it produces big hips. And those hips can be used to make your rosehip syrup, which is a great winter tonic. They can be used for rosehip jelly and jam, or for making wine. Very high in vitamin C, as we all know. So good for the immune system. But they've also done research into rose hips recently and discovered they're very good anti-inflammatories for things like asthma, arthritis, those kind of things as well. They're one of, people talk about the different superfoods full in antioxidants. Well, rose hips are jam-packed in them. They're as good as the blueberries and all the other ones, but they're one of our, well, this one isn't a native rose, but the Rosa canina is our native one. I think there's a Rosa canina just over there. And then the seeds contain a lot of what's called gamma-linoleic acid, the stuff that's in evening primrose oil or starflower oil. Very good for the skin, the immune system. Now, to actually get the oil out, it's a complicated milling and grinding process, so not one you can necessarily do at home. But they are a source of that.
But can you buy it? Like,
you can buy the rosehip oil. It's a little bit more difficult to get hold of, and it normally comes just as the oil rather than in capsules. But it's actually, our bodies absorb it better than the evening primrose oil.
All right.
The easiest way to grow these, you can take slips, or just get a small bush. To grow them from seed takes quite a while. Good hedging plant because of the thorns. What else? Prefer sun. Most roses prefer sun, and obviously most of the roses, they need feeding at least once a year. Known very much as a culinary herb, using the leaves. You can either dry them or use them fresh for soups and stews, pasta sauces. They give a lovely rich flavour. Some people cut the leaves to hang up for insect repellent, moth repellent. Put them in the wardrobe or the hot press or whatever to repel moths. It contains an essential oil that's actually good for the immune system. So just helps to fight viruses and bacteria, that kind of thing. You'd normally grow it from a slip or get a small bush. You wouldn't start it from seed. What else about it? It'll grow anywhere. I mean, like you find them growing in really dark corners, and they'll literally grow anywhere. They seem to benefit from being trimmed back all the time as well, so it's good to just keep pruning them back. Then they send out plenty of fresh shoots. They're evergreen, they keep going all winter, so it's nice to have a bit of green in the garden in the winter. Lavender, the best part to use is the flowers. They can be used for flavouring cakes and ice cream and making lavender syrup or lavender vinegar. They can be used as a tea as well. Nice kind of floral flavour to them. And then the flowers are used to make a tea, which is good for depression, good for settling the digestion, good for coughs, good for irritability and sort of... I think of lavender and rosemary as like they're sort of like the two sides of the pole. You use lavender when people are all hyper and need calming down to sleep, but they're sort of they're not feeling happy. Whereas rosemary is more for the person who their energy is very low and they're cold and they need their energy to rise. So the lavender, easiest again from slips or get a small plant. They need regular trimming back. If you don't, they get very, very leggy and kind of start breaking and so on. So you just keep trimming them back, not into the hardwood, but just trim back into the green parts. And what else about them? Any trimmings that you get. Even the leaf trimmings, you can pour boiling water on them, make an infusion that's very nice to do either foot baths or put into the bath, and you get all the benefits of the smell of the lavender. Or the other thing you can do is add them if you have either an open fire or if you have a barbecue outside. The trimmings of those ones, you can put them on and you get the smell from them as well. They have been used as like kind of an incense ingredient. The bramble, which is Rubus fructicosus, which I'll spell properly later. We know the fruit as being a very good thing to make jams and wine and so on, or put in pies. It's also very rich in vitamin C. It has that dark purple colour. All of those fruits with that dark purple colour, they're anthocyanins, which have been shown to be very good for the blood vessels. They're antioxidant, protect the body against aging, good for inflammation. The leaves, or the young shoots, were traditionally used steamed as a vegetable. They're actually very pleasant. And the leaves as a tea. In Czechoslovakia they did some research. What they were looking for was, you know, the way green tea has been promoted as this amazing thing, full of antioxidants, will keep you young, you know, kind of knock 20 years off your age and so on. So they wanted to look at their local plants to see was there anything else that could potentially be marketed as a competitor to green tea. They found that both blackberry leaves and raspberry leaves contain more antioxidants than green tea. So, and then the roots of the bramble are used for treating chest problems. They're kind of dried and ground up and used to make a kind of a tea.